Yes, you heard correctly. Kirk Frost truly believed he could continue to get away with this mess, but the truth just knocked on his front door while wearing handcuffs. Kirk Frost was arrested for allegedly attacking Rasheeda, and believe me, the details are a little complicated. Before you think, no, Kirk again, there's more to it than that. According to reports, criminal police were summoned to the Frost residence following a violent altercation that left Rasheeda in tears, and Kirk was removed out in the midst of the scandal or secret baby drama. Handcuffs, appearing as though he has just realized that his entire business is going to fall apart. But wait, it gets worse. Rumor has it that this isn't just a single altercation. Oh no, this may be the fallout from did Rasheeda finally hit her breaking point after years of deception, shady financial dealings, and emotional warfare. Did Kirk lose it because his dark secrets were about to be revealed, or is this merely grab some popcorn and settle in for another chaotic chapter in the never-ending Frost saga? After you hear the specifics of what actually happened that evening, you might never look at now that Kirk and Rasheeda are acting the same way. Let's get started. This problem is so much more serious than we've seen Kirk Frost in previous difficult circumstances in the past for cheating scandals, side kids, and shady business dealings, but this baby is on another level. Kirk Frost is currently incarcerated for reportedly attacking before you think, oh, it's just another messy celebrity couple fight. Let me tell you the specifics of this incident. They're going to blow your mind, so allow me to build a picture. Rasheeda, yes, the Rasheeda. Everyone assumed Kirk and Rasheeda were at home together, acting as though their entire empire wasn't hanging on by a thread. But for you, it was just another ordinary night at the Frost household. Tension had been building behind closed doors for months, and given everything Kirk has done to Rasheeda over the years, including financial manipulation and cheating scandals, are we really surprised? Public humiliation. This man was fortunate that she hadn't already left him, but this time, she didn't just consider doing so. Instead, she made it known, and it seems that's what triggered Kirk. According to some trustworthy sources close to the couple, Rasheeda recently confronted Kirk about some dubious business dealings he had been making behind her back. Rumor has it that Kirk had been transferring funds from their joint accounts to private ventures, and guess what? There was a claim that another woman was involved in those ventures. Rasheeda was out here constructing an empire and supporting Kirk. This man was supposedly out here indulging in someone else's way of life. As you are all aware, Rasheeda has endured a lot with Kirk before we all seen how she, in case you missed it, Kirk had a whole side baby on Rasheeda while grinning in her face as though he was the ideal husband. But she stuck with him through the entire Jasmine Washington paternity scandal. Even after Kirk was repeatedly caught snooping, Rasheeda continued to stay, but this time she stole money from her. Oh, that was the last straw. This is what reportedly happened. Late at night, Rasheeda began looking through financial records when she discovered certain irregularities, including large sums of money missing wire transfers to offshore accounts, and funny, when Rasheeda saw business names appearing in their records, she confronted Kirk, who attempted to gaslight her rather than come straight like a responsible adult. Hit her with the conventional, you're overreacting, and you're just stressed out line. But Rasheeda sis wasn't having it. From what I've heard, Rasheeda was screaming, demanding answers, and asking. Kirk, who is known to be a smooth-talking manipulator, initially attempted to shrug it off when Rasheeda made it clear that he was funding another lady behind her back. Receipts, oh sweetie, that's when things really became serious. Kirk seemed defensive, claiming that Rasheeda never shows gratitude for him and that he is the one who created this empire. Rasheeda wasn't backing down, according to sources, and they were back and forth for more than an hour before Kirk said something that went too far. He hasn't been out here working her off for years. Whatever he said, according to reports, drove Rasheeda over the edge. She reportedly grabbed her phone and threatened to call her lawyer and demand that he give over everything he had. And according to the police record, that's when Kirk allegedly snapped. Yes, the entire police report claims that Kirk grabbed Rasheeda's arm and pushed her against a wall. One neighbor reportedly reported to reporters that they heard glass shattering after hearing Rasheeda cry, followed by loud smashing sounds. And then there was silence, at which point someone, probably a neighbor, dialed 911. Kirk was supposedly standing in the living room when the cops arrived, appearing very composed, as if nothing had happened, while Rasheeda was reportedly sobbing and her eyes were swollen and red. After questioning both of them, the police cuffed Kirk right away after glancing at Rasheeda and possibly noticing some injuries. Oh my, this is where things become even worse when Kirk allegedly told the police. It's not that serious. Excuse me, sir. You put your hands on your wife and get arrested in your own house and think it's not that serious. When they questioned him why he had touched Rasheeda, Kirk has a history of dubious behavior, as you are all aware, but this is a whole new low, and the fact that he felt he could brush it off as if it were nothing says it all. You should be aware of Kirk Frost, and you know what the streets are talking about. Within an hour after the news broke, the hashtag Kirk Frost arrested went viral. The only shocking aspect of the tale is that, while some individuals were shocked, the majority of them said, "We've been new because, let's be honest, Kirk's been out here moving foul for years." Took Rasheeda this long to finally declare enough is enough, and this time, according to reports, she's not playing around. Rasheeda called her lawyer as soon as Kirk was hauled away in handcuffs. Not only is she requesting half of Kirk's assets, but she also intends to file for divorce as soon as possible. Kirk may be a manipulator, but Rasheeda is a businesswoman and is well aware of if Kirk thought he was going to leave this game unharmed, he's going to have an unpleasant awakening. But wait, this isn't even the most outrageous part. Apparently, according to rumors, this battle may have been about a secret Kirk has been keeping for years. And if you find out what it is, it may have been about more than just money. Oh, you'll be shocked. But for that tea, you must wait for part 2 because, believe me, this narrative is only beginning. If you thought part 1 was messy, you haven't, sweetie, heard anything yet, as the circumstances behind Kirk Frost's arrest are considerably more heinous than we initially believed. As we left off, Kirk had just been taken away in handcuffs after allegedly placing his hands on Rasheeda, and to refresh your memory, this was not merely a furious dispute that went out of hand. Rather, it was the culmination of years of preachery, financial manipulation, and emotional warfare. I don't blame Rasheeda for eventually losing it. But here is the part that will make you grasp your pearls. It wasn't just about the money, sweetheart. There's a whole other remember how I said that Kirk was supposedly channeling funds into private ventures. Well, add that to the scandal, and it's going to make Kirk appear even worse than he currently does. It turns out that the rumor wasn't only a rumor, and the woman in question, let's just say Rasheeda knew her very well, was close to the issue, and when I said, people who frequently attend the Frost house report that Rasheeda just learned that Kirk had been covertly helping one of her closest friends. Yes, you read that right. That's correct, not just any random Instagram model or a woman he met at a friend's club. Someone Rasheeda trusted who had visited their home with their children while they were seated at a table as if nothing were amiss. But it turns out that Rasheeda had been suspicious for months since she had seen that this supposed buddy was living a little too well with pricey handbags and lavish vacations. First-class trips, and Rasheeda was baffled by how this girl was able to pay for everything until one day she received a tip from another acquaintance who had seen Kirk. Oh, guess what? Rasheeda approached Kirk right away while she and this woman were together at a posh hotel in Atlanta. According to insiders, Kirk didn't even attempt to dispute anything. He initially gaslighted her, saying, "It's not what you think, you're being paranoid." We were merely talking about business, but when Rasheeda inquired about the nature of their firm, chatting around 2:00 a.m. in a private hotel suite. And Kirk reportedly lost it at that point. According to those close to the Kirk, verbally and emotionally attacked Rasheeda, accusing her of being insecure and domineering. Then he uttered the one thing that completely turned the situation around. "Perhaps if you paid more." Please pay attention to me, sir. I wouldn't have to search elsewhere. This is the same Rasheeda who supported you after you had a side baby and who created your entire empire while you were away. This is how you defend your betrayal, but believe me, it gets worse. It's the same Rasheeda who remained faithful to you when all the other women would have left years ago, creeping around the streets. Even worse, Rasheeda reportedly told Kirk that she was done after that dispute, as in, she was calling her lawyer and filing for divorce. And Kirk, well, you know how according to the police report, Kirk allegedly took Rasheeda's phone out of her hand when these deceitful males realized they were going to lose their meal ticket. When Rasheeda attempted to get her phone, Kirk allegedly grabbed her wrist violently and shoved her against the wall, causing her to scream. Kirk then attempted to erase the evidence. There is much more to this than a typical domestic disturbance report, so when the police arrived, Kirk wasn't simply there. Now let's talk about the arrest, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. When authorities reportedly questioned Kirk what had happened, he was blatantly conceited and said, "She's overreacting. It's just a misunderstanding, sir." How is it physically? It's a misunderstanding that you put your hands on your wife, whom you've publicly degraded for years. But here is the part that truly ends Kirk's life. The police searched Kirk's phone as part of during the investigation. They discovered hundreds of text exchanges between Kirk and this alleged friend, and guess what? They weren't about business. Apparently, Kirk and this woman had been in a committed relationship for more than a year, and the records showed that they had all purchased plane tickets, carts, money transfers, shopping trips, and even adorable pet names for one another. One of the purported texts said, "Don't worry, baby. We can finally be together once I'm done with Rasheeda." Excuse me, sir. This man was out here planning his escape strategy while Rasheeda was out trying to put an end to the empire they had created together. And it is astounding how arrogant he was to think he would get away with it. In addition, the police discovered bank records. Additionally, baby Kirk had been transferring large sums of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, that were meant to go into Rasheeda's business accounts into this woman's account. This woman's lavish lifestyle was financed by the money Rasheeda made, and you all obviously know what that means: fraud. That's correct. Kirk wasn't just when the authorities discovered that Kirk was transferring that amount of money through fictitious corporate accounts and personal payments, they accused him of cheating and financial fraud. Oh, that's when this turned into more than a domestic dispute. Kirk may now face accusations of embezzlement and fraud in addition to domestic violence, provided those charges are upheld. Not only will he lose Rasheeda, but he may also lose his freedom. Rasheeda, oh sis, is already 10 steps ahead, according to reports, who claim that she contacted her lawyer right once following Kirk's arrest. Team had instructed them to begin investigating. Rumor has it that Rasheeda is prepared to sue Kirk for all he owns and is attempting to obtain complete custody of their joint business assets. To be honest, I don't blame her. Kirk deserves what T is getting after years of being publicly humiliated by side babies and now being accused of financial betrayal. However, the narrative isn't finished because Kirk is now legally, as issues become more widely known. More people are coming forward, and what they're saying about Kirk is going to make the entire scandal seem even worse, because keep in mind that it turns out that she wasn't the only one with whom Buddy Kirk was supposedly associated. The woman speaking out has receipts, and after you hear what she's saying about Kirk, you're going to be shaken, but if you thought parts 1 and 2 were messy, you'll have to wait for part 3 because, believe me, this narrative is about to take a turn that you all saw coming. You had better settle in for this one, sweetie, because things are going to get worse. Kirk Frost's legal issues are only the beginning, as now that the news has spread, individuals are beginning to emerge from the shadows, and the things they're saying about Kirk, oh baby, are destroying his image, finished his career, and maybe landing him in jail. When we left off, Kirk had just been detained on suspicion of beating Rasheeda after she questioned him about transferring funds into personal accounts, some of which were allegedly linked to one of Rasheeda's alleged friends. And if that wasn't awful enough, the authorities found bank records and text messages demonstrating that Kirk had been using Rasheeda's hard-earned money to support this woman's lifestyle. As Kirk believed that things couldn't get much worse, another woman appeared. And this time, it's not just any woman. So guess what? That woman isn't alone. The comments made by a well-known Atlanta influencer regarding Kirk are going to make the scandal seem much more shady than it already is, according to this influencer. Deciding to be anonymous for the time being, but you are all aware that the internet investigators will discover her identity because Kirk has been involved with her for more than 2 years. And that's not all. It sounds familiar because that's exactly what he promised the other woman. But get this, he had apparently been assuring her that he was going to leave Rasheeda and start a new life with her. The woman isn't simply coming up with the claims that she said nothing. Oh no, darling, she has screenshots, bank accounts, receipts, and even recordings of phone conversations in which Kirk is said to have admitted to allegedly use Rasheeda's company as collateral for a private loan to finance his lifestyle with this woman, and he manipulated her by lying to her about business dealings. Excuse me, sir, but let's break things down quickly. Kirk was accused of having several extramarital affairs and of using Rasheeda's company assets to finance these relationships. Engaged in shady business dealings that may now result in accusations of fraud and embezzlement. And this man believed he wouldn't be caught. Well, things got even better after this second woman arrived. In the meantime, other people began speaking with various sources, including former co-workers of Kirk, and Rasheeda is now asserting that Kirk was involved in money laundering. Rumor has it that Kirk has been hiding money from Rasheeda and the authorities for years through their business by using offshore accounts and shell corporations. Apparently, Kirk would transfer funds from their company accounts into these funny firms, then move the money into personal accounts in his name. You know who was allegedly assisting him in setting this up? That's right, his friend Kirk had reportedly been involved with. And when Rasheeda learned that it was a full-fledged scam rather than just cheating, she didn't just sit back, and according to insiders, she immediately transitioned into businesswoman mode and is already collaborating with a group of forensic accountants and legal counsel to freeze all of Kirk's company accounts. The actual gag is that Kirk reportedly broke their business agreement by spending common funds for personal expenses, even though Rasheeda and Kirk were officially business partners. Has the legal authority to deprive Kirk of his ownership interest in their companies. Yes, Kirk could lose the entire Frost empire in addition to his marriage, and believe me when I say that Rasheeda isn't playing. Currently, an emergency hearing has been requested to freeze all joint assets until the investigation is finished. If Kirk is found guilty of financial fraud, then his life is ended, but now comes the section that's going to blow your mind. You may recall that Kirk purportedly told both ladies in some leaked text exchanges that he was leaving Rasheeda and starting over, been attempting to sell up his portion of their company behind Rasheeda's back in order to get a tidy settlement. But the deal fell through, and you can guess why. Rasheeda's name was on the contract, and the buyer was unwilling to tamper with Rasheeda without her consent. So in addition to attempting to steal her money, Kirk was apprehended because Rasheeda's company, Acumen, was smarter than his shady business. And now that Kirk is being charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, he may face jail time. The public is taking this very seriously. People are dragging Kirk Frost to hell and back, and even his longtime followers are turning against him. Social media went crazy as soon as this news came. Hashtag Kirk Frost arrested is still trending. Some people are even claiming that Kirk's career is over. However, let's take a moment to discuss Rasheeda, who is experiencing a tremendous transformation following Kirk's arrest. Said on Instagram that sometimes God takes people out of your life for a purpose. Trust the process, darling. Rasheeda isn't simply departing Kirk. According to sources, she's set to level up. Rasheeda is already negotiating with several networks to make this entire scandal into a documentary series, and I can assure you that if Rasheeda decides to air a surviving Kirk Frost series, it's going to be amazing. Going to blow the internet, and Kirk is spiraling. Rumor has it that Kirk's attorneys are already attempting to work out a plea agreement since they are aware that Kirk won't be able to stand a full trial. But here's the problem. Kirk would lose his freedom and his business if he confesses to financial fraud. Rasheeda has previously stated that there is no way out of this situation. Currently, Kirk faces a failed marriage, business loss, financial devastation, and a potential criminal record. To be honest, he deserves all of this since, let's face it, Kirk had years to mend his mess. He had a devoted wife who supported him despite all of his foolishness. He had a successful business that Rasheeda helped start, and he had the opportunity to improve, but he opted to lie and cheat instead. And steal, and Kirk is now sitting in a jail cell wondering how he got here. The answer is straightforward. Kirk did this to himself. The issue now is whether Kirk will survive the scandal, or if this is the last nail in the coffin of his career. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. I assure you that this tale is far from done, and if you're interested in hearing the next update when Kirk finally speaks out, then definitely do so. He will need to make a statement. Yes, you clicked the like and subscribe buttons. Listen to the channel and activate those notifications due to this scandal. Baby, this narrative is going to grow considerably messier. Is far from over. Kirk still faces significant charges, a shattered bank account, and financial ruin marriage. But will he be able to handle this, or is Rasheeda, yeah, she's really the end. Not hiding the fact that she's going to what do you do if you take Kirk for everything? Do you all believe Kirk deserves this? Falling, or is Rasheeda overstepping her bounds? Will Kirk be able to bounce back from this? His career is now over, so please drop your comments ideas struck a chord with me. Click and confirm that you are a subscriber. Because believe me, the upcoming update will. It's going to become messier.